Research by David Hull, the creator of the Thinking Maps methodology, reports that 90% of the information entering your brain is visual. But most people only remember 10% of what they've heard 3 days ago. If you add an image to this message, this figure can jump up to 65%. Let's do a quick exercise. Don't worry, I'm not going to test your memory. Since we are at a War on Waste conference, I want you to imagine or visualize waste. If you have to draw waste, how would that image look like? Perhaps you've seen waste at home or at a business or in the environment. Some of you might have visualized a landfill site. Some of you might have visualized waste in the environment or litter. Those working in a food-related business might even have visualized food waste. So images have the power to not only unlock emotion and help us to retain information, but it can become a powerful tool in solving challenges. My return flight to this conference between Cape Town and Johannesburg generated about 270 kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions per passenger. So this is equivalent to about 40 shopping bags. Now, I did not think about the non-visible waste of my flight, but when I have to think about 40 shopping bags in my car, I get a bit of an uneasy feeling. It is in our nature to focus on what is visible, but this often results in ignoring things that we cannot see or things that we did not realize existed because they were not visible. So for every product we place on the market, or products that we consume as consumers, we are often unaware of the non-visible waste generated. Afval, a Swedish company, calculated the following climate costs for greenhouse gas emissions or the carbon footprint for the total waste generated throughout the production chain. A smartphone of 200 grams had an invisible waste footprint of 86 kilograms. A laptop of 3 kilograms had an invisible waste footprint of 1,200 kilograms. 1 kilogram beef, 4 kilograms of invisible waste. And a pair of trousers had 25 kilograms of invisible waste. So if we think about building a future-fit business in the context of sustainability, we have to make the invisible visible in order to take a holistic approach. GlobeScan does a yearly survey across 500 sustainability professionals over 60 countries. And when asked what the most or the biggest sustainability challenges are that they are faced with, climate change came out as number 1. This was followed by biodiversity loss, water scarcity, and deforestation. So what is interesting to me is that there is a perceived urgency of social issues on the rise. And I've marked those with the yellow arrows. So poverty, economic inequality, and access to healthcare. There's also a growing attention to the accessibility of basic needs, such as water, education, food, and energy. You can see that plastic waste and waste did not manage to take top of the list. I think we can all agree that being a future-fit business where sustainability is integrated into your business model is not a tame problem. So tame problems are problems where both the problem and the solution are clear. We are faced with complex and wicked problems that involves high degree of complexity and multiple parties or stakeholders, institutions working together to solve it. Those possibly have different ideas, values, and interests. So Future Fit business, as defined by the Future Fit Leadership Academy, is one that in no way undermines and ideally increases the possibility that humans and other life will flourish on Earth forever. So how do we create a future fit business? 3 pillars include to build innovative systems, discover opportunities, and create alternate futures. With building innovative systems, we create value for stakeholders through the innovative solutions whilst taking into consideration market relevance, environmental, social, and governance impacts. Opportunities can be discovered through scanning the horizon for trends, inspirations, and the regulatory environment. And then we take a proactive approach to developing sustainable values when we want to create an alternate future. So I'm going to quickly touch on each one of these by giving an example. The example I want to share on Build Innovative Systems is based on a fresh produce packaging project that we are busy working on in Mpact. So I'm not going to go into the details of the project, but only focus on why we embarked on this journey, what is it we wanted to achieve, and how we approached it. It was important for us to ensure that we take a holistic approach in designing fresh produce ventilation systems. The holistic approach would help us to reduce losses and cost, and by selecting the optimum system based on scientific evidence, the shelf life could be improved and food waste reduced. It will also allow us to optimize produce cooling and thus saving energy and time. This would result in an enhanced product quality and freshness of the product, and to impart retailer and consumer loyalty and trust. On top of this, life cycle thinking employed allowed us for a true reduction in environmental impact over the entire life cycle. The success of this project does not depend on the individuals working on the project, but on the powerful innovation culture of a multidisciplinary team. So each person brought to the table their unique strengths that range from sales and marketing, engineering, scientists, and subject matter experts. We followed a systematic approach based on fundamental science and coupled this to market insights and the regulatory environment for the destination countries. All of these attributes interacted in a manner where the sum is greater than its parts in order to create a packaging system with enhanced value. Opportunities are discovered and insights developed by looking at regulations and trends. So let's first look at the regulations. The CSIR mapped the waste legislative context in South Africa, and that can be divided into 4 stages. This shows that government and lawmakers have been very busy since 2008 to drive change in the waste sector. From 1989 until 2001, it was the age of landfill stage, where regulations revolved around the permit, control, and managing of landfills. From 2002 to 2012, the emergence of recycling involved. During this stage, the South African Waste Information System was established, as well as the Waste Act of 2008. More and more regulations are coming into play in the flood of regulations and the drive for EPR, or Extended Producer Responsibility. Legislation can be a driver of change, but also an opportunity for businesses to innovate and implement new business models. I want to demonstrate how the legislative landscape is changing on a global scale by looking at EPR as an example. So in the year 2000, only a few countries in Europe introduced EPR in the form of the green dot system. This is indicated by the green color on the map. 20 years later, in 2020, a much more complex landscape exists, ranging from voluntary, emerging, limited, and mandatory EPR. As time goes on, we can expect much wider mandatory EPR landscape, driving change in the packaging and other industries. But EPR is only one small section of the sustainability landscape in Europe. Their legal framework is split into the circular economy and the Green Deal frameworks. This includes the plastic strategy, the waste package, the circular economy 2.0, and the farm to fork strategy. All of these have their own sets of regulations, and even between the different member companies within Europe, these differ. For exporters to Europe and other countries, it is important to stay up to date with the latest legislative changes to ensure compliance. We also know that South Africa often uses the European regulations to influence our own regulations, but South Africa is generally a couple of years behind the developed countries. Don't worry, this lag can be turned into an opportunity, as it gives us time to prepare for what is to come. We can also learn from what other countries have implemented, as well as their technologies, and then adopt that to suit our unique local environment. So now if we look at trends, I was fortunate to visit Mpact in Germany earlier this year, and trends are shaping our future to provide businesses the opportunity to innovate and make use of the latest technology. Sorry. So this year, there were 4 main themes or spotlight talks that came to the forefront at Mpact. Those were the circular economy and resource management, digital technologies, product safety and protection, e-commerce, and logistics. The circular economy revolves around the design for circularity, which can affect our raw material choices. We have to make sure that the products we design are not only designed for recycling, but that the active collection, sorting, and recycling infrastructure is in place. Resource management focused on reducing our carbon intensity, using renewable energy, and inclusion of recycled content. It also involves in the use of reusable or refillable packaging formats and business models. Digital technologies include artificial intelligence and digital twinning, smart connected packaging, and new ways to improve the end-of-life waste sorting, like the incorporation of a digital watermarking system. Product safety or protection looks at design or alternative materials or other solutions to prevent food waste and extend shelf life. This also involves the incorporation of intelligence and smart monitoring of the quality of products. Digitalization of the logistics chain and improved efficiencies are a few examples of the hot topics in the e-commerce and logistics space. The last pillar of building a future-fit business revolves around creating an alternate future. We have to take a proactive approach towards sustainability. So it's not always easy to imagine what the future will look like and how we have to prepare for it. So I want to share a video with you about a small island called Tuvalu. So Tuvalu is situated northeast of Australia, and they looked into the future and saw that they won't exist anymore in the future due to the rising sea levels that threatens to submerge them. So they came up with a very unique solution to survive climate change. They're turning to the metaverse to become the world's first digital country.
We have no choice but to become the world's first digital nation. Our land, our ocean, our culture, are the most precious assets of our people, and to keep them safe from harm, no matter what happens in the physical world, will move them to the cloud. Islands like this one won't survive rapid temperature increases, rising sea levels, and droughts, so we'll recreate them virtually. Piece by piece, we'll preserve our country, provide solace to our people, and remind our children and our grandchildren what our home once was. Only concerted global effort can ensure that Tuvalu does not move permanently online and disappear forever from the physical plane. Without a global conscience and a global commitment to our shared well-being, we may soon find the rest of the world joining us online as their lands disappear.
I'm hoping that the alternate future we create won't involve us or many other countries joining Tuvalu online. We have to take responsibility for the visible and invisible waste. It is important to take a holistic approach. We have to accept that we are solving complex problems where neither the solution or the problem might be clear. A future-fit business in the context of sustainability would involve building innovative systems that includes an innovation culture, discover opportunities by looking at trends and regulations, and take a proactive approach to creating alternate futures. We are faced with societal and environmental change. A cloud of economic pressure and uncertainties are covering the sky. We have to look for opportunities to not only adapt to the new conditions, but to thrive in it. Thanks.